Mamdani wins, y'all. The rent freeze reality in New York real estate new era is about to begin, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. This is Matt Garland, NMLS number 58700, but better known as MG the Mortgage Guy. We are live. We are blessed. Thank God for another day. The New York City election, well, election all across the country is finally done. There are a lot of new mayors, but the one that's getting the most headlines, obviously, is New York. New York is the mecca of everything. If you're from New York, first of all, type what borough you from and chat. Queens get the money. If you're from Queens, type all caps tool QGTM. Let's grow. Right? Type in the chat what borough you're from. And if you're from New York State, type that in the chat too. I know this doesn't impact you at all, but type where you're from. Represent in the comments, man. But today we're gonna break this down a little bit today for you guys, man, because my phone has been crazy over the past 2 weeks. Everybody has been kind of going crazy about Mamdani. I actually was honored. Shout out to Troy, Mike, Rashad. We were honored by the Brooklyn Democratic Party about a week ago. We went to the gala, just me and Mike. Troy and Rashad was out of town, and they were hyped about Mamdani and everything that he's doing. But today, it's official. He won the election, and people are happy. People are terrified. People are excited. People are pissed the fuck off. It just depends on what side of the fence, I guess, you sit on, right? Me personally, let me just say this, right? And I want to put this out there right now for the record. It doesn't matter to me who wins, who loses these type of elections. I am a person, and I've said this so many times on my platform. I am a person that I am independent. I vote for who I think would be best for the people. In this election, I'll be honest with you, I did not vote. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I got a newborn, and I did not go out there and vote in this past election. Just keeping it real with you guys, right? But either which way, I'm giving you a neutral perspective, and from both sides, because I can understand what everybody is saying from both sides of the fence, right? I don't never encourage anybody to vote who you should vote for. I think everybody should vote for who they feel is the best candidate, whether you're doing local elections, whether you vote for the presidency, whatever it is, vote who you think is the best candidate. Now, when it comes to Mamdani, right, let's talk about a few things, because he's officially won the election, and the housing market in the real estate space is already reacting to it. Again, if you turn on any news channel, especially local here in New York, you're going to see a lot of chatter and a lot of things about it. He has some very strong things that he ran on in his campaign when it came to real estate. And we're going to talk a little bit about those things. So we're going to talk about what this means for homeowners, landlords, renters, and investors from both perspectives, right? This is no politics. I just want to talk some facts about what he ran on. And I'll give you my personal opinion. Feel free in the comments, right? Feel free in the comments to state your opinions and what you think. Sin Central said on Instagram, who did you say you will be the best candidate? I did not say who will be the best candidate. I think all these politicians sometimes are full of shit, in my personal opinion. They just campaign and they tell people what they want to hear, and most of the time they don't get none of this stuff done. But again, I'm just here to talk no politics, just facts, data, and what the implications could be if some of these things come into effect in New York, right? Look, again, we got Yaya writes. She said, "I'm very proud of NYC. Congratulations to New Beginnings," right? I don't know, man. I don't know. Some of these things are kind of crazy, but let's get into what Mamdani has campaigned on when it comes to real estate. We're not going to get into the entire campaign thing. Let's just talk strictly real estate. Number one, he was talking about rent freezes, rent freeze, to freeze rents on all rent stabilized units citywide. It was framed as protection for tenants during inflation. A lot of critics is want it could be a chokehold on landlord cash flow and reduce housing quality. He's campaigned saying affordable housing expansion. He wants to build 200,000 new affordable units. Heavy focus on public housing and nonprofit development. Heavy focus on public housing and nonprofit development. Property tax reform, shift taxes off of working class homeowners in the outer boroughs and increase taxes on luxury and high value homes. Now, me personally, I don't like that right there, but I'm gonna get into it because I have high value homes. And what is the definition of a high value home? This is New York, for crying out loud. Everything's fucking luxury if you compare New York to the rest of the country as far as price point is concerned. But, let's see. Okay. Zoning reform, up zone near transit hubs to encourage density and development. Climate and green building agenda, push for all electric carbon neutral building standards. Tenant right enforcement, stricter regulation on eviction and harassment cases. Again, stricter regulation on evictions. I don't know how you can, like, evictions in New York is crazy as is. So for me, it's like, how much more strict can it get? It takes damn near 2 years to get somebody out, but whatever. Right. So let's do a little bit of deeper dive. Let's talk about the rent freeze on rent stabilized units. He said on his platform, he said he would immediately freeze the rent for all stabilized tenants. Now, this targets about 1 million plus rent stabilized apartments, which make up just over half of the rent stabilized rental apartments in New York City. He's emphasized medium income on stabilized households at or around $60,000 dollars a year. Damn, O'Brien Jocelyn on Instagram said he's been trying to evict a tenant since December 2024. New York is different, y'all. New York is different. So let's talk about the apartment vacancy rate right now. Right now in New York City, it recently hit 1.4% of rent vacancies in apartments. Right, it's probably one of the lowest readings in over 50 years. Right, it's a tightness right now, supply, super tightness, supply. Hold on, let me turn this damn phone off. My phone is just buzzing like crazy. Hold on. My bad, y'all. All right, so you got a lot of vacancies right now. The medium cost, a full scale freeze, a full scale freeze could carry potential damage to a lot of landlords. Like, all right, let me just say it like this, because I'm trying to find the words to really make this like as political correct as I can, because I know I see on both sides of the fence, right? New York is just fucking expensive. New York prices don't make no sense at all. Um, and the wages have not caught up here in New York. Wages have not caught up in New York for the prices. It is absolutely ridiculous. But on the flip side, as someone who has properties here, and I don't have rent stabilized, so I don't have to worry about that, right? But I can understand why you want to freeze, because look, in New York, you can go up 3% every year after your lease is up. And I can understand that when you're dealing with lower income folks, it's tough, it's hard. But What I think people also need to understand, and look, and this is not a defense of slumlords. I just want to say that this is not a defense of slumlords. Um, because slumlords are slumlords, right? But there's a lot of mom and pop investors that own a lot of buildings, and the expenses for these buildings continue to rise every single year, whether we're talking property taxes, utilities, maintenance. And a lot of these buildings, majority of these buildings in New York City are old. And you have weather here, right? That kind of, you know, deteriorates your building. So if you are a landlord, and especially if you have rent stabilized apartments, these apartments are well below market rents already, and your expenses keep rising. How, as a landlord, can you continue to maintain these buildings, right? How can you continue to maintain these buildings if there is no cash flow? So landlords of these rent stabilized properties could see reduced revenue growth while all these expenses continue to climb. So how do you balance that off, right? How do you balance this off? It's almost impossible, right? Um Most landlords, we rely on rent increases to support debt service and upgrades. But if your margins are so tight and you negative, then this building, this investment, it's going to be hard for you to maintain a building, right? And I think people need to understand that. Like, it's going to be extremely difficult for a lot of landlords to maintain if he can get this rent freeze passed. Now, there's checks and balances that he has to go through, right? He has to go through a board to make this happen. But I don't know if this will ever happen. If it does, what impacts that it truly will have. Um, but I can tell you this: investors are going to find a way to make money. And ultimately, this might come at the cost of folks who don't qualify for rent stabilized apartments and folks who do make money. So the buck is always passed down to somebody, right? Somebody's going to pay for something. So if Mandami is able to get approval to freeze rent and rent stabilized apartments, landlords, what they're going to have to do, they're going to increase in other areas. Somebody's going to still have to pay for it. And now that's going to impact the everyday middle class New Yorker who might make 100,000, 125,000, 150,000, right? That's going to impact them. They're going to be the ones who are going to have to pay for it. Right? So, you know, depending on what side of the fence that you are on, like a rent freeze could be good for some, but it also can hurt the majority. Just my thought, right? Let me see what you saying here, Lloyd? You said landlord in NYC act like no money is better than $1,000 a month. We need to stop this narrative. They are just greedy. That's just what it is. Lloyd, what the hell are you talking about? Lloyd, what are you talking about? Lloyd. The- you can't be from NYC with this type of comment. You can't be from NYC with this type of comment, right? I'm gonna read this comment again. Landlord in NYC act like no money is better than $1,000 a month. We need to stop this narrative. They are just greedy. That's just what it is. First of all, I don't think all landlords are greedy. And when I see comments like this of greed and everything like that, I think you guys just don't really understand what it costs to operate real estate. Now, $1,000 might be a lot of money in some parts of America, but truly, in all honesty, $1,000 for an apartment in New York, that's not enough. I'm sorry. See, and look, let me fuck it. New York is one of these places that, and I tell you guys all the time, New York is not a cash flow market. It is an appreciated market. The rent prices have not caught up to what the values of these homes are. A duplex can cost you $1 million in a fucking drug infested neighborhood in New York. Let's just keep it real. So when you talk about what it takes to maintain and carry the debt service, et cetera, like no, no, like no, like you need more than $1,000 a month. It's not greed. It's called, and this is you just trying to break even in some cases, right? So no, Lloyd, I disagree with you. I don't think everybody's just being greedy, right? It's not everybody's just being greedy. It's like, no, people got expenses, right? Like you might be talking a smooth 1.2 to 1.5 million dollars. It's not greed. It's just the market that we live in. So for me, okay, here we got another good comment, right? So charge $4,000 for an apartment that's small and outdated in New York City, and that's not greedy, a joke. Again, for those of you who don't live in New York, I wouldn't expect you to understand. But New York is not like, see, what I don't think most of you people who are not from New York don't really understand. What you don't really understand is that New York is an old city. Most of you folks live in cities where there's a lot of new development and a lot of new construction. A lot of these homes were built 100 years ago, right? You're not paying for square footage in New York like you pay somewhere else. Like, so you guys might say, "Oh, I need to have a a 3,000 square foot apartment for $4,000 a month," but that's not New York. Like, that's not New York. New York is overpopulated. The city is dense. It goes up. Most of these other places like Texas and Georgia, you guys have land. New York, we have air rights. So like it's not it's not a matter of greed or being small. Not in all cases. In some cases, yes. But you just have to understand the way this city has been built hundreds of years ago. This is a city, and Chicago has similarities, but Chicago's no New York. Let's not get it twisted. Okay. But it's not greed in most cases. It's just the way of life. It's the way things are. Period. And every city is different. Chicago's not New York. New York is not Chicago. New York is not Atlanta. Like, New York is its own fucking planet. They're like, this is what it is. And overinflated to you may not be overinflated to someone else. So you guys just have to understand, when you can't compare apples and oranges. You just can't compare apples and oranges. New York is apples and the rest of the country is oranges. It's just real simple. You can't compare apples and oranges. Right? You can't compare apples and oranges. Brownstone Bunny said, I own 2 properties in Bed-Stuy, so my monthly expenses are well over $1,000. Agreed. It's expensive. Right? So, again, guys, every market is different. But again, when we talk about Mamdani and what he wants to do with rent freezes, if that is able to get passed by the rent boards and approved, landlords who own these rent stabilized properties are going to see reduced revenue growth. Costs are going to continue to increase. And those landlords who own other properties that are not rent stabilized, they're going to find a way to make the money back on those properties. Period, point blank. Investors are in the business to invest and make money. It doesn't matter what you try to do. You want to save here, somebody else is going to pay for it. It's just like in banking. When the government comes up with regulations and rules and stuff like that and make things tighter for banks, who pays for that? When the government agencies raise their pricing on products and things like that, and they further penalize you for buying multifamilies or having lower credit scores and things of that nature, who's paying for that? The consumer. Nothing in life is free, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing in life is free. Now, investor behavior is going to shift. They're going to shift away from stabilized heavy portfolios. And they're going to start moving their money out of New York. They might start now going to upstate, Connecticut, Jersey, Delaware, Philly. So the tri-state area, if Mamdani does get his way and pass rent stabilized freeze, the folks who invest in those type of assets might just start taking their money outside of New York. Period, point blank. Period, point blank. Now, let's talk about affordable housing. Right? Let's talk about the affordable housing expansion to build 200,000 new units. That's what he's pledging. Right? Housing by and for New York policy. Construct 200,000 new publicly subsidized, union built, rent stabilized homes over the next 10 years. It's going to cost $100 billion over 10 years for that affordable housing expansion. And it's the target households that are making less than $70,000 a year. To target households that make less than $70,000 a year. That's interesting. So, just to give you guys some insight, right? From 2010 to 2020, New York City added about 185,000 multifamily units, 4 plus units. When we talking multifamily commercials, over 4 units, right? Only 30% of those were affordable, meaning that they were under 80% to qualify for them. You had to make 80% of the area medium income. Everybody type in chat AMI. Everybody tap in chat AMI, right? AMI, AMI, right? So more than so out of the 185,000 multifamily units, let's do some math, right? So if you have 185,000 multifamily units that were built, 30% of those apartments were quote unquote affordable. So that means 55,500 out of that 185,000 multifamily buildings that was constructed in the 10-year period from 2010 to 2020 were for people who made under 80% of the area median income. More than 630,000 people applied in 1 week for rental assistance lottery last year. Just last year alone, showing high demand for AMI. So if you only had 55,000 55,000 affordable units, in 1 week you had over 630,000 people apply. You can't even you can't even service all of these people who want these quote unquote affordable apartments in New York. It's almost impossible. It's absolutely impossible. So when you have what Mamdani wants, right? Again, he's looking to build 200,000 new publicly subsidized union built rent stabilized homes over the next 10 years. So that's what, 20,000 a year. There's not going to be enough, because if this does come into fruition, there's not going to be enough supply to meet the demand, because again, last year just 630,000 people applied in 1 week for rental assistance lotteries. So there's definitely a heavy demand for this, but it's not enough. There's not enough. So there's going to be an increased supply of subsidized rents that could moderately put pressure on rents in certain segments, especially in the lower income market, because you got so much demand. At some point, it's going to have to go up. Now, developers who are, you know, renting at market rate or got luxury units may face increased competition or slower rent growth in these areas where subsidies, concentrate. So you can have, this could be a mess. This could be a mess. How do we solve, let's just take a deep breath. How do we solve not only the affordable housing issue, rent affordability, and not just New York, but throughout America? You can't, unfortunately. You can't. You can't. It's almost impossible. In my personal opinion, I'm just telling you what I think. You might not agree. You might agree, you might not. But I don't think there's nothing you really can do to meet the demand of this sector. It's just too damn expensive already. And most people, unless you're giving these developers huge incentives, tax breaks, and things of that nature up front, then why would they want to do this? Property tax reform. Property tax reform. Shift from working class outer boroughs to luxury homes. Reform New York City's property tax system. Shift taxes off working class homeowners in outer boroughs and increase them in luxury, high value, and wealthier, wider neighborhoods. All right, let's talk about this. Wealthier, wider neighborhoods. Now, to some of you, you might be like, hell yeah, let my property taxes go a little bit lower. Why not let the people who live in these areas pay more property taxes? Look, I'm gonna tell you this right now. Like, I don't like that. Me personally. Now, this is one thing because I live in what would probably be considered a wealthier, whiter neighborhood. Not just white people live in these neighborhoods now. I'm sorry. To me, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't help me. My taxes are already ridiculous. So, and that's what I'm saying. Like, when you live in luxury areas, first of all, New York City, New York taxes, property taxes are already outrageous. They're already outrageous. In the boroughs, Westchester, the island, Long Island, the taxes are ridiculous already. Now, how in God's green earth are you going to raise taxes just because you might be live in a different in a certain zip code? That's crazy to me. If you want to me personally, I don't feel like you should shift taxes and tax people who live in luxury or high value homes. Why don't you just like he wants to remove assessment caps and implement circuit breakers for low moderate income homeowners? Okay, if you live in an LMI area, great. Implement those circuit breakers in those areas. But don't say just because someone worked hard, they make a couple dollars, that they property taxes should be higher because we can afford it. No, that's bullshit. Because the taxes are already absolutely ridiculous. First of all, you're getting taxed just by living in New York City and New York. And like it's you're already getting quadruple taxed living here. And now you want to increase our property taxes too. Every fucking neighborhood is high value. You know what I'm saying? Like every neighborhood in New York is high value, in my opinion. Everything's over a million. Or are you just talking about the homes that are 10 million and above? But even then, those taxes are ridiculous too. If you live in a neighborhood where your average price is $9-10 million, you probably paying $150,000 in taxes already, in property taxes. So to increase that, that don't seem right to me. That don't seem right to me. And look, guys, these are just my opinions. This is just what I feel like, and this is property taxes we're speaking about. Shout out to T got the keys. Like, and she says, that's why I moved to Delaware. 4,000 square foot home for 2,500 a year in property taxes. This is why a lot of people move out of New York, because home prices, property taxes, insurance, everything is just fucking ridiculous. But to say you want to continue to tax people, just put the circuit breakers on for LMI areas if you want to help them. Like, it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. That's just that's just me, right? That's just me. I just think if you are taxing people, even if you living in some of these, 20, $30 million condos and stuff like that, you gotta think about it, right? A 20 if you have someone who let's just say a $200 million condo in New York, yeah, they might be paying a $1 million plus a year in property tax. That's a lot of property taxes. I'm sorry. Now, most of you will probably say, look, if you're paying 200 million for a place, you can afford another million in taxes or another half a million taxes. Probably so, but you're already paying a lot in taxes. Now, I'm not in that bracket, right? But when you start implementing these type of things, nothing's off limits, in my opinion. You open up Pandora's box for everyone to get taxed. But that's just me, right? But again, if this goes into effect, what are we going to see? In my opinion, you're going to see more people start selling their properties and leaving New York. People are not going to sit here and work hard to live in New York, to have a great life here in New York, and then you got to pay all these income taxes that you have to pay, and then you have high ass property taxes. No, I just sell and I'll just go somewhere else and take my money out of New York. That's what's going to happen. And that's what a lot of people, if you watch the news, especially if you watch your local news here in New York, you see a lot of people are pissed off behind that. Now, obviously, the people who are not in this income bracket, you have to ask yourself. And look, I am someone who who hasn't been as successful as I am today. I wasn't as successful 20 years ago. So I can understand both sides of the fence. When you on your come up, you're in your 20s and everything like that, your low 30s, you trying to get to it. You trying to get rich or die trying, like 50 said, right? You have to start looking at, once you start getting some bread and you start trying to move and shake and now get into that ownership conversation. Do you want to get tax crazy just because now you bust your ass to live in certain neighborhoods and to do certain things? No, you don't. Now, I can see why a lot of people voted for him, why he's our mayor, because it's pain points, right? Politicians, everything sells. He's hitting the pain points of majority of New Yorkers who are struggling. And it was a smart play. You make, like, there's promises of free buses, free transportation, and free this and free that. But I'm gonna tax this person. I'm gonna tax this person. I don't see how any of this can work because the people who got it, they're not gonna want to stand for that. They're just gonna want to leave. And if you have people who are business owners, and we're not talking about, and let me be clear, I'm not speaking about the people who are billionaires. And I think when most people think of New Yorkers and they think, oh, you rich or something like that, you think about the folks who making billions, you think about Wall Street, you think about all of that, right? You got to think about the everyday business owner, that the mom and pop quote unquote business owner that's out here making $1 million in revenue, things like that. How are they going to be able to sustain? These are people who are giving people jobs, who are employing other folks. If they taxes continue to go up, how are they going to operate? How are they going to operate? Because there's a lot of people in this city that make that type of money, and they're not mega rich or anything like that. These are everyday. The guy who owns the bodega might own the next door liquor store. They still live in the neighborhoods, right? They're just entrepreneurs following the American dream. So if you are going to tax people, more property taxes, more this, less shift, like you could be impacting good people who work to build businesses and give people jobs that employ people and helping other families. So we got to be very careful, I think, in my opinion, when we start talking about raising taxes because of a certain tax bracket you might be in. I think it can get real sticky because it can impact people who might not necessarily, just because they have a business that makes X, Y, and Z, they might not be fucking, living la vida loca, like they fucking, James Bond type ish. Like they might still be tight themselves because they got payroll and payroll taxes and city taxes and this tax and that tax, right? All these expenses. And even like I said, for the landlord, the quote unquote mom and pop landlord, that person who might have 4 buildings, 5 buildings, right? They work hard to get those buildings. They may have 25 doors between them, but they're more of a mom and pop landlord. And they might have some rent stabilized apartments. Now, if you freeze the rent, but the expenses, are you freeze, like if you're going to freeze rent on rent stabilized buildings, are you going to freeze the landlord's expenses? Are you going to freeze the landlord's expenses? Like these are things that I want to know. Chat, what's your thoughts so far? Some of these policies, what's your thoughts? Like to me, look, and I told you guys, I am one who I look at, when you look at all these politicians, take everything with a grain of salt, because a lot of these times folks are just saying shit to hit your pain points to get the votes. And then when they get in office, they don't do nothing. And I'm not saying Mamdani is going to be the same. I think some of the things that he's saying make sense, and it could help people, but I think a lot of the things that he's saying also can hurt a lot of people as well, just like all politicians, right? There's good, bad, and ugly with all of this. We all just have to make sure that we take everything with a grain of salt and we figure out how to maneuver, especially of us in New York, where you have a lot of people in New York who are just living check to check just to survive. And that's just not for that's for the entrepreneur too. See, most people say check to check. You think about just the everyday W-2 worker. No, there's a lot of business owners that are living check to check too. They barely can cover payroll because they're employing people, right? So we have to, as New Yorkers and just as humans in general, no matter where you live, no matter who's the mayor, the governor, the president, whatever, we have to figure out our ways to where we can still make money and fend for ourselves. Shout out to my brother Arthur. He said the policies sound good on the surface and have great intentions, but they are not economically viable. I agree with that, Arthur. I agree with that. Right? I agree with that. And a lot of the changes The governor has to sign off, especially when you talk about raising taxes on the rich and things of that nature. That can't be done at the mayor level, a lot of these things. Let's talk about tenant rights and enforcements, right? Stronger regulation on eviction and harassment. What he has pledged during the campaign is to crack down on bad landlords, expand tenant protections, support owners, but also strengthen enforcement against eviction and harassment. Strengthen enforcement against eviction and harassment. Now, I agree. Crack down on bad landlords. Absolutely. Slumlords give all landlords a bad name. Slumlords give all bad lords, all landlords a bad name. Let me say that one more time. Slumlords give all landlords a bad name. We cannot have a few bad apples that ruin it for all of us who want to be good landlords. So I 100% agree. There's people that don't take care of their buildings, don't take care of the tenants, right? These are humans. These are people, right? So crack down, do whatever you got to do to crack down on bad landlords. I 1000% agree with that, right? Expand tenant protections. I think New York City is unlike no city in America. Like eviction, tenants have all the protection in the world. How much more protection can you give uh, a tenant here in New York? Like that's the shit I really want to know. How much more protection a tenant in New York can get? Like how much more protection? Eviction can take up to 2 years in New York. Like it could take up to 2 years. Do you understand? There are professional tenants in New York that will come in, move in, and never leave. And never leave. And then will move out, mess up your apartment. So a landlord could face stricter compliance, higher legal risks, higher costs for tenant relations and regulation compliance. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. How much more, like, to me, how much, and shout out to my brother at my best 197 in the comments says rents will go up because of that. I agree. I agree. You see, somebody's going to pay for all of this shit. And that's what I was saying earlier, y'all. Somebody's going to pay for all of this. If Mamdani wants to have more tenant, to expand tenant protections and strengthen enforcement against eviction, what? Oh my God. This could get ugly. It is going to be extremely difficult for you to be a landlord in New York if what he pledges on the campaign trail comes into fruition. Investors and look, again, we gotta he he just was elected. Doesn't start, I think, until January 1st. We have a long road ahead of us, ladies and gentlemen, especially for those here in New York. We don't know what's going to pass and what's going to really happen. This is just campaign trail. Take it all with a grain of salt. But but this could get ugly. A lot of investors might leave New York because it's already difficult to invest here. It's already expensive as hell to invest here. It's already so much compliance and rules and regulations compared to the rest of the world, the rest of the country, I should say. But if you want to make it more difficult, that's crazy. you have without landlords, there's like without people who are buying these properties and taking on the risk of ownership, where would people live? Like it's like it has to go hand in hand. It can't just be so lopsided and one-sided for one set. There has to be a balance somewhere. And right now, and for decades, it hasn't been balanced in New York City, especially when it comes to tenant and eviction laws here in New York. We have to find some sort of balance here in New York. And right now, right now, and if corporate controls it, like you said, IMWD, then it could get uglier. Then people still gonna be look, people gonna bitch whether the government has it, the mom and pop individual investor, or corporate has it. Everybody is going to somebody's gonna complain about something. And like Welby said, the system doesn't work without the private landlord because you can't have the government and corporate. You need private landlords. They need people like us. So you got to make it balance out for all parties. I'm all for cracking down on slumlords. I'm all for, you know, making sure that tenants are not getting harassed and things of that nature. But to enforce stricter eviction rights in New York when it could take up to 2 years as it is, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. But these are my thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. These are my thoughts, and these are my opinion. This is what I feel. Overall, to sum it all up, to sum it all up, ladies and gentlemen, you damned if you do, you damned if you don't. If you are investing here in New York, if you are a current landlord, you like the rules and regulations, if they get put in play, we have no say. We have to do what we have to do. We have to figure out how to maneuver, how to get through all of this. How do we grow through all of this? Right? What the fuck can you do? The people have spoken. Mamdani wins. The people are happy. The everyday person is happy. The person who's getting money is probably not too happy. The investors are probably not too happy, right? I'm not going to get into the whole religious things because that's not what my channel is about. But if you look on social and you see what people are saying, especially New Yorkers, some people love it, some people hate it. Me personally, I love it and I hate it. Like me personally, I love it and I hate it. What I see, like, how old is Mamdani? 32, 34, or something like that? What I am seeing is that the people of New York voted for me personally. And this is what I think. I think why Mamdani won is because he hit the pain points of the everyday New Yorker. He was smart about that. Number two, and most importantly, I think people are tired of the old boys club. And this is why I think Cuomo lost. Because Cuomo was the governor, especially during COVID. And during the campaign, Mamdani had some good points. Like, why would New Yorkers trust you again? He made some good, valid points during the debates, right? But I think people in general are just tired of the old boys club. They're tired of the promises of the old boys club and people looking out for the rich only. So candidates who are coming up like Mamdani, who are appealing to the younger generation and the younger voters, has some swag about it with them, they're going to win. Mamdani proved, especially for the Democrats, I think this was a good formula for them. This man, I'm gonna say this right now. If in this next 4 years as the mayor of New York City, if New York City doesn't implode, this man might be run for president and win one day. That's just my thoughts. Because the way the young people are around him and root for him, I was watching some clips on social media and people was like, yeah, we happy he won this and the third. And an interviewer was asking them, like, what policies his you like and all this other good stuff. And they could not answer it. They had no clue. They didn't care. I probably watched this morning 100 different clips. They don't care. And Lauren Media said he can't run for president. I don't care what rules are in place now. Rules are meant to be broken. Last time I checked, a felon couldn't have been president. last time I checked, a felon couldn't run for president. And look, because the Constitution says U.S. born. Look, rules could be bent and adjusted. Who knows? Well, some of you are checking me on this. Maybe he won't be president, but I wouldn't put past nothing in this world. I wouldn't put nothing past you. But don't discount if he can't be president, someone who has that same type of flair and flavor as a Mamdani could be the next president. He just wrote a whole playbook. He just wrote a whole playbook. He can be a governor, senator, or any other politician. I agree with you, brother. They need to change the laws. You can run for any office if you're not born on U.S. soil. Look, right? That's one part that, and forgive me, I will correct myself. I completely forgot that he wasn't born here. But either which way, this man ran a hell of a campaign, and the Democrats now have a formula. The Democrats are hyped now. They have a formula. This is the most hype. This is the most hype that I've seen the Democratic Party in a very long time. I was at a Democratic gala just a week ago. They were hyped, y'all. This is going to be the new formula. So when the next presidential election come up, don't be surprised that it's going to be somebody young, hip, that has the younger generation and start hitting all the pain points. So yeah, and you're right. You said a lot of people voted for him just because Trump didn't want him to win. Agreed. Agreed. Sergeant King said, easy to be hyped looking from the bottom. Agreed. Michael said, this is exactly people we need right now. We need to unite our country. We are tired. We are tired. My man Arthur said investors will start to leave. Those that stay will raise rents on market rate properties. Middle class citizens who earn more than 80% of the AMI will be priced out of market rate housing. I agree. I agree. Cliff Cliff said if a majority of the buildings are older and cost to maintain, new construction types are needed. Yeah, new construction types are needed, but that's expensive as hell in the city, especially when you got unions. New York, I'm telling you guys, New York is a completely different animal than the rest of the world. It's easy to say new construction types are needed, but who the hell can afford to build here besides the big institutional investors and the folks who can raise tens of millions of dollars to build? New York is just a different animal, y'all. Completely different animal. All right. Y'all want to shift gears a little bit? Because I'm tired of talking about this shit. I'll be honest. I'm tired of talking about this right now. Let's shift gears a little bit. It's 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you got some good information from today's video, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. I'm going live for those of you who are watching this right now. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Moving forward, so set the bell for notifications. I got some great episodes coming up. Make sure you guys download Rants and Gems on all podcast audio outlets. Make sure you guys tap in with Rants and Gems. All right. Hit the bell, like the video, share with 10 people. Okay. Yeah. Now it's time to talk some real estate. Let's talk where's the market right now? Let's look at the market. We're midday. Let me pull up the market real quick. Let's see what we got going on right now. Let me sign in. Let me sign in. Let's see what we got going on right now. Okay, 10-year treasury. Okay, 30-year fix right now. Oh, it's looking okay. Yeah, it's getting worse today, y'all. There's been a couple reprices already in the market. 10-year treasury is not looking good. Let's give you guys a quick little market update, see what we got going on. Today's November 5th. There was some reports. Mortgage market index report came out. The NBA purchase index, the refi index. Okay, ADP jobs report came out. Okay, a couple reports came out. 30-year fixed national average right now. It's right around 6.375%. Now, when you see any 30-year fix rates that are published online, that does not mean that you are going to qualify for that. Let me do this. Let me do this. Let's do this real quick. Let's share the screen. Let's share screen. Let's share screen. Okay. Type in chat. Can you guys see my screen? Type screen in comments if you can see my screen. Type screen in comments if you can see my screen. Let's look at the market right now, ladies and gentlemen. Let's look at the market. Over on IG, can you guys see my screen? Type screen and comment if you can see my screen. Let's see. Okay, screen. Okay, you guys can see it. Okay, great. So, what are we looking at right now? I am looking at the markets right now. Let me do this. Make this a little bit bigger. Pause so that way you guys can see it a little bit better. Yeah, the 10-year treasury right now is going up. It is going up. It's open up at 4.84. Now we have 4.1. As you can see, it's trending up. We had a couple dips, but it's a bloody market today for the 10-year treasury. So when we're looking at this right now, this is going to put pressure on mortgage rates. And if we're looking at the mortgage backed securities, yep, we're going to see some repricing probably throughout the day if mortgage, if this 10-year treasury doesn't turn around. But right now we had a couple reprices for the worst. So, all right. So let me break something down for you guys real quick, right? When people always ask me, yo, Matt, what's the interest rate or what interest rate can I qualify for? I always tell people I have no clue. I really don't pay attention to interest rates for your particular scenario. I really look at the market. And what I mean by the market, I look at the 10-year treasury and I'm looking at mortgage backed securities, the UMBS right here. So that kind of gives me an indication of where mortgage rates are going to go from day to day. Um, as the market is open, market closes at 4:30. Interest rates are subject to change. So for those of you who are getting pre-approved and things like that, and you think, hey, the rate that I got quoted on my pre-approval is going to be the rate that I'm going to get when I get into contract, you're absolutely wrong. Interest rates move too fast, right? And when interest rates are moving this fast, it's because of this. It's the market, right? Until you lock in, your rate is just a quote. That's all it is. Nothing more, nothing less. Okay. Right now, the 30-year fixed average right now nationwide for a single family home, 20% down payment is right around 6.375%. This is for a single family. This is not for multifamilies. This is not for if your credit score is below 760. This is for above 760, 20% down, single family property, and probably a loan amount right around 350. Okay. As you go into higher loan amounts, lower credit scores, property types can go from single family to multifamily. Your interest rate will be higher than the 6.375. But in most cases, in most banks, when you start seeing reprices and things of that nature, um, you can probably still get that rate, but it's going to cost you some money in the form of discount points to buy it down to get this rate. Are y'all tracking? Do y'all understand what I just said? Type yes or no in chat if you are tracking what I said. Type that you are tracking in the comments if you understood what I just said. Okay, we got a lot of yeses going on. Okay, so for those of you who are looking to purchase real estate, if you are looking to buy real estate, there's an opportunity cost for everything. There's an opportunity cost for everything. You cannot just say, hey, I'm gonna wait for home prices to go down. I'm gonna wait for this. I'm gonna wait for that because this market is open and it's thriving and is moving every single day, Monday through Friday, from 9:30 to 4:30. It is moving, it is shaking, it's going up, it's going down, it's going left, and it's going right. The longer you wait, the more expensive it could be. Whether it's going to be more expensive in home prices, whether it's going to be more expensive in rate, it's going to be more expensive. So, if you are in the market to purchase property, you need to get your stuff together, get moving, and make wise decisions. Timing the market, you can't. In order for you to time the market, you got to be in the market. Like, for example, let me ask you guys, we got over 100 people watching us live right now. So shout out to everybody who's tapped in with me, MG in the morning, right? But how many of you who are watching me right now are looking to buy real estate in 2026? If you're looking to buy real estate in 2026, type 2026 in comment. If you're looking to buy real estate in 2026, type 2026 in comment. Type 2026 in comment. So if you are looking to buy in 2026, if you have not been pre-approved, you have to ask yourself, what are you really doing? If you don't know what your buying power is today, if you don't know what you can possibly qualify for, if you don't know what programs are going to be the best, if you don't know your exit strategies, ask yourself, what are you really doing? Now, out of all you people who just said that, how many of you are really in position right now? If a good deal came across your desk today, do you have all your paperwork together? Do you have your capital together? Do you have your lender together? Do you have your realtor together? Do you have your contractors together? Do you have everything that you need right now to execute at an extremely high level and get the deal done? I want you to be honest with yourself. Do you have this? Because a lot of folks, you're going through this process of dreaming. You're not going through this process being serious. We got a few people in the comments that are saying, yes, they are ready. If you're ready right now, type ready in chat. If you're ready, if you got all the things that I just mentioned to you, and you're just waiting on a deal to come, type ready in chat. But if you are one of those people who are typing ready in chat, let me ask you another question. How many offers did you make so far this week? How many offers did you make this week? How many properties this week did you analyze? How many properties in the past week, in the past 7 days, how many properties did you go see? If you're looking to invest out of state, how many video walkthroughs on FaceTime, etc., did you do in the last 7 days? Right? So when people say, look, I'm looking to buy, I'm looking to do this, are you really? Are you really? Because I have people that come to me like, yo, Matt, I've been looking for all year. I can't find nothing. Then I say, how many offers did you put in the last week? They say none. How many properties did you look at in the last week? None. How many did you do in the last month? Oh, maybe one. Are you really ready? Are you really ready? Right? Are you really ready? Are you really, really ready? Right? Now, I appreciate you, Sergeant King. You said 0, right? You said 0, and I appreciate your honesty and your transparency. So, guys, I say all this to say procrastination is like masturbation. You're only fucking yourself. Procrastination is like masturbation. You're only fucking yourself. Stop procrastinating. Get to it. If you want to buy multifamily, single family, investment, primary, and you have your capital, you have the credit, you know what loan product you're going to use, you have an exit strategy, you know if you're doing rehab, you got contractors on deck. What is stopping you from being more aggressive to go out here and buy your property? Don't tell me the market, because people closing every day, B. And let me tell you guys something. Let me tell you guys something. As we continue to have this market up. Matter of fact, let me see something. Let me put this full screen so you guys could just see this and just only hear my voice right now. Right? If this 10-year treasury starts to move down, not if, when. If this 10-year treasury in the next couple months start hitting high threes, mid threes, Those mortgage rates you see right here in this corner, these things are going to be in the fives. And when these folks come out in the fives, I don't care what no one tells you. I'm telling you my opinion. These home prices that are correcting themselves right now in many markets across the land, those things going to start going right back up. And many of you are still going to be priced out. Many of you are still going to be priced out. And I don't want to see that for you guys. So again, if you are someone who wants to purchase real estate, who wants to do this in the year 2026, how aggressive are you being today? How aggressive are you going to be this weekend? How much time and energy are you really putting into finding this property, making offers, negotiating? Because it's here for us, y'all. It's here for us. Now, if any of you want to work with me and my team and get pre-approved, I'm going to put the email right here on the screen. Screenshot it, type it, text it to yourself, whatever it is that you have to do. Send us an email. Make sure you make the subject YouTube. Do not just do a no subject. Like, you have to make the subject YouTube, because if I don't see it, if I can't search it, you're not going to get a response. Make the subject YouTube, request to get pre-approved. Give us a little details in the email of what your goals, your real estate goals are. And let's get to it. If you're learning from me, I want to help you get to that closing table in 2026. Cliff says he wants to do multifamily student housing. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. I absolutely love it. So, let me take this off. All right. So, do we have a better understanding of the mortgage market for today? And every day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to come on here live, y'all. And I'm going to give you guys updates, especially this Friday. I'm gonna let you know what my sentiments are for the weekend. If you're out here house hunting over the weekend, I'm have realtors that's going to join the program in the coming weeks with investment opportunities, home buying opportunities, showcasing properties live here on the channel as well. Obviously, we're going to give real estate market updates, anything political that's going on, and products and policies, and then a lot of amazing interviews from a lot of people in the industry that are doing extremely well. That's going to come on the channel and give some rants and some gems. Okay. So there's a lot that's happening with rants and gems going into 2026, 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. Okay. Oh, and also I need everybody to also make sure you subscribe or download Rants and Gems on all podcast audio outlets. Make sure you download Rants and Gems on all podcast audios, especially if you're on Apple. If you can leave a 5-star review, go ahead and leave a 5-star review as well. I hate this fucking mic. I'm sorry. I hate fucking mics. They annoy me so much. Like, they really just annoy me. It's just like in the fucking way, right? Shout out to Cliff. Cliff said great info in the morning. Great info in the mornings and discussion. You had on Monday. I appreciate the love. Shout out to Harris Robinson, loan officer on MG, talking about skinny MG. Nah, I gained a little bit of weight. I just hide it well right now, but this pregnancy took me out. I ain't gonna hold you guys. I need everybody. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube, if you're watching this live on Instagram, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube. If you're on Instagram, comment YouTube, and you will be able. I'll send you the link so that way you can subscribe to the channel. Can you guys hear me good? Like if I have the mic like this, can you hear me good? If I have the mic like this, can you hear me good? If I have the mic like this, okay. And slap that like button if you're here on YouTube. Make sure you guys slap that like button. Let's answer this question. Let's do a rapid Q&A. Right? So throw your questions. I got about like 15 more minutes. I want to do a rapid Q&A because I want everybody to get a lot of value out of today's show, from end to end. So who is this user? I don't know what type of name is this. This looked like some bot made up name, but I'll answer your question. Is it a good time for FHA refinance? Is it a good time for FHA refinance? Yes and no. All depends on your current situation. What type of refinance are you looking to do? Are you looking to do a rate and term refinance? Are you looking to do a cash out refinance? Are you looking to go from a FHA to a conventional loan and possibly remove your PMI? Right? So that's kind of a generic question, but I'll kind of break down all three things that I just said. So for those of you who have a FHA loan, pay attention. Right? If you are, and you said, okay, user, you say a cash out refinance. So let's start with a cash out refinance. It all depends on how much equity that you have in the property, right? How much equity you have in a property. Cash out refinance for FHA loan, you can go up to, I believe, 85% LTV. Everybody type in chat LTV. Everybody type in chat LTV, right? So you can go up about 85% LTV. You'll still have PMI for 10 years. If you take out a new FHA loan to do this cash out refinance. But ultimately, user, if you have a low interest rate on your current FHA mortgage, I probably would not touch that low interest rate. Like if you in the 2s and 3s and 4s, I wouldn't touch my FHA first mortgage right now to do a cash out refinance to go in the 6s. I would do a home equity line of credit and leave the FHA first mortgage alone and do the line of credit to take out the equity. Now, if you are someone who doesn't want to take out cash, let's just say you have a 7%, you bought 2 years ago, you have 7% on the FHA, and you want to do a FHA rate and term refinance. Maybe you don't have that 20% equity to remove the PMI and go conventional, right? You might want to look into what's called the FHA streamline refinance. Everybody type in chat FHA streamline. Type streamline refinance, where you can do this rate and term refinance. In most cases, you don't need a new appraisal. You don't need income documentation. And the closing costs, there are still closing costs, but majority of these closing costs are paid for by lender. And at closing, you would just have to bring that month's of mortgage payments to the closing table to kind of offset what the lender is not able to cover, right? And I have a whole video. I think I did this like a year ago, 2 years ago, here on this channel about streamline refinances. Maybe I'll do a whole new one and break it down a little bit more. But yeah, So a streamlined refinance is something good that you could possibly look into if you have a FHA loan with a higher rate, 7% or above, and possibly save some money. Now, you're still going to have PMI and you're going to go to a 30-year fix again. So it could be a good option. I hope that answers your question. Okay, let's get another question going on. O'Brien Jocelyn says, if someone's getting married soon and wants to invest in real estate, what things should they have in order first? This is a great fucking question. This is a great freaking question, right? If someone is getting married soon and wants to invest in real estate, what things should they have in order first? First of all, are you and your spouse on the same page? First things first. Are you and your spouse on the same page? Because I think that's extremely important. I've seen many times where folks are just not on the same page when it comes to buying real estate or just money management in general. So I think first thing you need to get in order is just make sure you and your spouse are definitely on the same page about building wealth as a unit, right? Extremely important. Number two thing is credit, capital, and capacity. How's your credit scores individually, right? How's your utilization? How's your capital? How much do you have saved? And capacity. What's your knowledge of investing into real estate between the two of you, right? Who has more or less, right? What's your strengths and weaknesses as a couple? Because ultimately, this is a business that you guys are starting, so you have to identify your strengths, your weaknesses, and what roles that each of you are going to have in the company. Treat it like a business. Don't treat it like, oh, it's me and my boo. We buying some property together. No, me and my boo, me and spouse are starting a real estate investing business. So you have to treat it like business and don't treat it like it's your relationship. It's separate and apart. Right. So I think that's extremely important. Extremely important. And then number three, I would say it should have been number one is really mindset, right? The mindset, having your shit together and being able to like not put having good mindset, put your egos to the side and being able to go out here and execute on the plan and setting realistic goals, but always having motion towards those goals. That makes sense. O'Brien, are y'all following what I'm putting down right now? O'Brien, that makes sense. All my couples, that makes sense. Now, O'Brien, I would tell you also is if you can divide and conquer. I don't know your situation right now. Like, I don't know if you guys have property right now. I don't know what that situation look like, but if you both don't have properties right now, maybe you need to look into my divide and conquer strategy. If you both can qualify for, minimum down payment loans, and before, I don't know if you guys live together or not, but if you don't live together right now, maybe you each buy a multifamily as a primary residence and live in it separately until you do get married. And now that starts and you have your minimum down payment loan products. And depending on what part of the country you're in, there's definitely a lot of incentives out there right now where sellers are paying closing costs and things of that nature. So it might be minimum out of pocket for you guys, and you can start your investing journey that way, right? So everything that I just mentioned first, O'Brien, but then now the strategy, divide and conquer, right? So everything I just mentioned, and now the strategy you implement is divide and conquer if that is feasible based off of where you guys are financially right now. And if it's not feasible, let's just say you each own property currently and stuff like that, then you know what? Start the business account. You both put your capital in there, and then just go out here and run it the fuck up. Y'all follow me? That's a good question. Let's take some more questions. User, you came back and you said I have a 3.5% interest rate. This was the cash out refinance question. Now you're updating us saying that you have a 3.5% interest rate currently with 140K equity on an FHA loan, and I want to tap into my equity. Do a home equity line of credit all day. Do a home equity line of credit. I'm gonna give you a bank right now. Try US Bank. They have good terms right now. Try PNC or Citizens. Who else? Navy Federal Credit Union. So that's a good 4 banks right there that I would tell you to try. It was a year ago. Wait, hold on. Let me go back. I think you asked me a 2 or 3 question. Because I'm not sure what you're saying here. You said Quran 252. It was a year ago. You also did the 203K streamline. Oh, I guess you was talking about my streamline video. Yep. I did it a year ago. You're 100% right. Okay. I just caught up to what you were saying. Yeah, no problem. No problem. Good questions. Good questions. I love those questions. Let's take one more question. And then we're gonna get out of here. Cliff, let's see what you got going on. You said workforce housing units are needed for our central employees in the inner city. Any new legislation that prioritizes these types of smaller scale room and options over traditional home and developments? Cliff, you're in Houston, so I wouldn't know about any new legislation from a local or federal level that prioritizes smaller scaled rooming options. I would definitely say look into it locally. Maybe you can get some sort of grants and things like that that could support that, because now you're talking workforce housing units, and depending on what type of workforce you're targeting, there could be specialized things locally. So yeah, I will look into that from a local perspective, Cliff. Vicky Robinson 2761 says, is there any situation where you can have 2 primary residences? The Letitia James case inspired my question. Letitia James, she's currently going through the motions for mortgage fraud. So I hope that the mortgage fraud did inspire you. Like, wait a minute. Whoa. So 2 primary residences doesn't make sense. You can have a primary residence and you can have a second home. A second home is typically a a vacation home, right? Um, which you can put down 10% down. So yeah, you can do a second home, but typically when banks are looking at second homes, they look at it more in vacation areas or somewhere that you are going to live, you know, half of the year in. So it is possible, but what a lot of people do, and look, I'm not going into the details of Letitia James's case, but what a lot of people do is, because of the lower down payment requirement, 10% for a single family, they will structure the deal as a second home and then rent it out. And then that's where the mortgage fraud question comes into concern. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna do a video. Maybe, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna break that down on Friday's show. This Friday, we're gonna talk about. Let me write this. Seda, if you're listening, remind me of this, right? Let's break down. Let's break down Letitia James case. We'll do that Friday on Friday's show. Let's break that down. I like that. Okay, let's get another question. With rent becoming more unaffordable, the job market on a downward trajectory, what impact do you what impact you are that have on the housing market in the next 5 to 10 years? Y'all gotta read before y'all hit send. Y'all gotta kind of read what y'all typing. I know sometimes we be typing fast, but what impact do I see that having on the housing market on the next 5 to 10 years with housing becoming more unaffordable and a downward trajectory on housing? What impact do I see it having? It? I mean, it could be a negative impact, obviously, right? If people don't have jobs and then housing is still unaffordable, then I think it can definitely have a slowdown over the next 5, 10 years on home values. But let's call a spade a spade. Let's call a spade a spade a spade. When and let me ask you guys this. Let me ask you guys this. Serious question. Since you've been alive, when has housing been affordable? And when was there a real upward trajectory on the job market? I'm gonna say this again, and I want you guys to be real. When was housing affordable, and when was there upward trajectory in employment? And I say this, look, I am 47 years old. I've been on this earth for 5 decades almost. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. God willing, I make it to 8 decades, 9 decades. But I can remember when my father purchasing real estate, he's always complained that shit was expensive. I remember we moved from apartment to apartment because he complained that was expensive. And my father worked for New York City Transit and retired from New York City Transit Authority, and he was in management. So he had a good job, a good career. He made decent money for that time. Now I'm talking about this is the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, right? But from what I can remember, housing has always been unaffordable. And there's never been an influx of jobs. People get laid off every day, and it's always been low wages. Right? And now, affordability is subject to your areas too. Because there's a lot of areas where you have, like someone in Instagram, Lauren James said, I can't answer the job market question, but it was affordable for me in SC in 2009. Some markets were very affordable, 50, 60, 70,000. But what's affordable to you, Lauren James, maybe in 2009, probably wasn't affordable for others. So we really have to, when we look at these type of things, and I say all that to say, and this is my opinion, right? These are my opinion here. I don't think there's ever been a time. I don't think there's really ever been a time that I can remember from when I was coming up as a child and a teenager and early adulthood. And then when I first got in this business, people, especially, I've been doing this for 22, 23 years, y'all. For half of my life, I've been in this business. Right? People were always complaining about low income housing prices, property taxes, no matter what side of the income fence you sat on. People always complained about this. But yet, what happens every single year? People still buy real estate. Because why? You need a place to live. It's a great tax investment. It's a great tax shelter. And ultimately, if you buy right, it can turn out to be a great investment. So, what my prediction is, um, whether you're renting, whether you're owning, the impact that's going to have on housing, it can cause a slowdown, but ultimately people are still going to buy, people are still going to rent because there's three places you can technically live. You can rent, you can own, you can go live with someone, or you could be homeless. That's four. That's four options. You have four options of shelter. And I don't know the fourth option, anybody want to be homeless, right? But you can either own, you can either rent, you can live with somebody, or you can live under a bridge. There's no other options. So ultimately, at the end of the day, whatever impact, good, bad, or ugly, you still have to do it. So it really doesn't matter. I don't think about that stuff. I think about how much more money can I get. Like what I always tell people is this too. If there's a recession that's happening in the world, which technically we're probably in a recession right now, I'm just trying to focus on that way it's not a recession in my household. I focus on how do I not have a recession within my sheltered walls? How can I make sure that I am doing those things that I need to do to protect my family to make sure that we can continue to live and thrive and not just survive? Because I don't want to survive, I want to thrive, right? Those are the things that I focus on. So in the next 5 to 10 years, what my focus is, and in 10 years, I'll be 57 years old. I'm looking at how do I go into my 60s with being mortgage debt free on properties I intend to hold forever, and how I leverage properly on things that I'm probably going to wind up just selling at some point or leave it to my kids. So that way they're in a good financial cash flowing position. These are the things that I focus on, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, let me get a couple more questions here. It was affordable in 1981. It probably wasn't affordable for those folks in 81 because motherfuckers wasn't making money in 81. So again, when we look at the price was 20,000. 20,000 was a lot of money in 81. You know what I'm saying? People was probably making 5,000 a year. But in today's time, we look at that as affordable. But in the 80s, people probably didn't look at that as being affordable. It's all relative, y'all. It's all relative. Let's get what time is it? It is now what time is it? It's 12:51. All right, we're gonna go for 9 more minutes. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Make sure you download Rants and Gems on all podcast audio outlets. Leave a 5-star review as well. And hit the bell for notifications. We'll be back Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. Tomcat says I got a mortgage of 164,000 at a 5% with 26 years left. I like to pay this down while investing in more property. Any suggestions? Maybe like an equity loan. How much is Tomcat? How much is the property worth? Tomcat, how much is your property worth? How much is your property worth? This is a good question here. I want to get a little bit more details though. And if you guys see me keep looking to the side, it's easier for me to read off of my big screen here than this screen that's right in front of me. If you're looking to buy Hayes Deeds, you can email us at garlandgroup@unmb.com. Garlandgroup@unmb.com. Okay, so your house is worth, Tomcat, $350,000. You have a 5% rate. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. 164. You said 350 is worth. 350, 164, 350, take away 164. So 186,000. You got 164, 350. So you had a 46. So what I would do, 164, I would do a home equity line of credit. Okay, Tomcat, I would do a home equity line of credit. You can easily go up to 75% of the value of that. So you'll probably walk away with like $95,000 to $100,000, give or take, just depending on, the value. If it comes in a little bit higher than 350. You said your mortgage term was a 40-year mortgage. So you already paid off 13 years. So I would personally, it sounds like you started off as a 40-year mortgage. So it sounds like you're aggressively paying down your mortgage. I don't know how long you had this mortgage for. How long have you, Tomcat, how long have you had this mortgage? Because you only got 26 years on a 40-year mortgage. So you already paid off 14 years. So how long have you been in this house on this mortgage? And how much extra are you paying on a monthly basis towards your principal balance? Okay. So if you want to take out equity on the home, 21 years. You've had the house for 21 years, or you've been in this loan for 21 years? Wait, hold on. I need more information. Tomcat. You had a modification. Okay. So you've been in the same house for 21 years and the same mortgage for 21 years. And at some point, you did a loan modification. And you did that loan modification 14 years ago during the Great Recession. That's what it sounds like. Confirm, please. Yes. Okay. So, all right, let me catch you up to speed. So Tomcat here has a mortgage at 164,000 at 5% interest rate with 26 years left. Purchased the house 21 years ago, did a loan modification during the Great Recession 14 years ago, has 26 years left on that same mortgage, hasn't refinanced or anything. Wants to invest while paying down the property at the same time. Thinking about possibly taking out an equity loan to fulfill those investment needs. House is worth about $350,000. If Tomcat was to do a home equity line of credit, and go up to 75% loan to value, could take about another $100,000 out, easily with no problem. We're still living about 25% of equity in the home, which is a good margin still. Okay. And can still work towards their trajectory of paying off this loan. Now, what I would do if I was you, I don't know your age. How old are you, Tomcat? Because you said 64. So I'm not, is that like the year you were born? Tomcat 64? Like, how old are you, Tomcat? You're 60 years old. You're 60 years old. Okay. Tomcat is 60 years old, y'all. And you've been in this house for 21 years. Is your goal, Tomcat, to pay this mortgage off? Are you planning on retiring in the next 5 to 10 years? What's your ultimate real estate goal? I want to get you on the show, Tomcat, right now. Tomcat, why don't you just jump on? You know what, Tomcat? This is what I'm going to do. I feel like I need to have a conversation. I need to give you a coaching call, Tomcat. Tomcat here. I just put a link. Tomcat, click on this link that's right here that's highlighted. Because I feel like this is a conversation. If you're willing to come on the show, I mean, you're sharing a lot in the comments, but I think this would be better if you were to join the show real quick, so that way we can have a conversation. And I can give you a coaching call right now, which I have a coaching call package for those of you who are interested in having one-on-one coaching calls. It's $750. You get 3 video coaching calls with me, and you'll have access to those 3 video calls after, and you'll have lifetime access to it. And the coaching calls are 30 minutes a piece, and you have to use the coaching calls within 6 months of purchase or they expire. So if you're interested, you can shoot me a DM right now on Instagram, MG the Mortgage Guy, and just tell me you're interested in the 3 package coaching call. I usually charge $500 per call. But you know, it's Black Friday coming up, so why not? Okay, 3 coaching call package for $750. $750 will make you 100x return if you do it right. So Tomcat, are you available to come on? Because this is a very good question, and I want to be able to give you the right information here. Tom, where are you? I saw you jump on, but then you jump back off. Come on, Tom, come back on. Pause. Click the link again. And prayers up for Jamaica and the islands. Hopefully they rebuild stronger and better. Shout out to everybody on the yard for sure. Come on, Tomcat. Click the link. Time is running out. I want to be able to give you a good answer. Or call in. Maybe I should have a call-in number, right? I did have a call-in number before. Okay, there you go, Tom.
Hey.
Tom, there you go. What's up, my brother? How are you?
How you doing?
I'm good, brother. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you good.
Good, man. Good. So let's talk about this. What are your real estate goals, Tom?
I'm good. I'm feeling hearing the echo though.
So you hear echo on your side?
Yeah.
Let me see.
Well, it's an echo. Let me. Yeah, I'm trying to see how I can get rid of it.
Yeah, you got a lot of background noise.
It's quiet. It's the echo.
Yeah, it's definitely not on my end. But let's talk about it, right? Tell me, what are your real estate goals?
No, it's quiet behind me. It's that echo that you hear.
Yeah, because you don't have on headphones. Do you have headphones or anything?
I do have headphones. I gotta go get them.
Yeah, probably because you don't have on headphones.
I don't have headphones on right now.
Yeah, I think that's why you hear the echo, because you're on a cell phone and you would need.
Yeah, let me go get it.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second, okay?
All right, no problem. All right, so we got Tom coming back to the show. Let's give Tom a coaching call. Let's hopefully he can we can cancel out the echo and the noise and everything like that. Yeah, maybe I need to do a call-in version of this, right? But I like the interaction like this, right? Check in from the phone and computer.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Much better.
Okay, great.
So tell me, Tom, what are your real estate goals?
Well, I want to buy property. I actually want to get a self-storage facility. That's my goal, really. But I'm willing to do like a couple of houses at a time if I can. But I want to pay this house off if possible.
How soon do you want to pay that house off?
I mean, I don't. Shoot, I mean, like tomorrow if I could. You know what I'm saying? But I want to. You know. But I know. You know, realistically, I got to be able to pay this down while I want to pay it down while I'm making more money and another property. You know. And plus, I work. I'm a tradesman, so you know I work a lot of hours too.
So your ultimate goal is self-storage centers, right?
That's my ultimate goal.
So look, Tom, I'll be honest with you, especially
Yeah.
at 60 years old, me
Yeah.
personally,
Yeah.
and you only own one property right now, right?
Yep. That's it. The one I live in.
So me personally, what I would do if I was in your shoes, I would take out the home equity line of credit,
Yeah.
and I would probably invest into the self-storage units versus investing into the multifamily units, because you're going to get the same write-offs and things of that nature, but you can make more profit and more
Yeah.
bang, more ROI on your money.
Yeah.
Me personally, especially at 60, you don't want to be dealing with tenants and landlord tenant issues and things of that nature, right? You're trying to ride off into the pastures right now and have a good time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I was not a property managers anyway, but you're right.
Yeah, and again, have the property managers and everything like that. But me personally, if I was in your shoes, me personally, what I would do is I would personally go into self-storage, because it's just going to be easier. Not easier, but it could be more lucrative without all the headaches of dealing with landlord tenants.
Yeah.
Where do you live?
I'm in Michigan.
In Michigan.
Yep.
Yeah. I personally probably would look into self-storage units, but I would definitely go ahead and I would take out the home equity line of credit. You know, you can go ahead and get yourself $100,000.
Yeah.
And with that $100,000, you can go ahead now and probably invest into probably 1 to 2 self-storage units,
Yeah.
and start creating a lot of passive income for yourself.
Yeah. Well, you know, the only thing about the self-storage is, you know, buying a house, you know, we can getting that is easier. Self-storage is just more. So I'm still trying to learn the ins and outs with it. That's all. And it's taking me longer to understand the business than it is to just you know, buying apartment buildings. You know, that's pretty easy. Not, I mean, well, like a 4 family or something. That's pretty easy. But
Well,
self-storage, I'm not.
down payment requirements is probably going to be in the same ballpark, right? You're still
Okay.
percentage wise, you're still going to probably need to put up 20%
Yeah.
of a down payment plus whatever closing fees that come with it.
Yeah.
But yes, it will be quote unquote easier for residential real estate, because there's more programs out there's more funding options versus self-storage. There's not as many funding options as there are if you're buying traditional housing, but
Okay.
there are still options out there. You can do SBA loans with
Yeah.
self-storage as
Yeah.
well. But with a self-storage unit, you have an opportunity to create more once you put up that money, you can create more income streams with
Yeah.
that. You can have vending machines in there. You can have mail drop off package services in there, right? Like I have a self storage, a storage unit right now in this facility, and they literally had basically nobody working there. They just had like robots
Yeah.
working there, right? So
Yeah.
there's so many different ways that you can maximize your income potential with a self storage than what you can with traditional real estate.
Yeah.
And do you follow on Instagram Mogul Real Estate?
Yep. I sure do.
Yeah. So
Sure do.
my guy, he's always talking self storage and
Yeah.
doing classes on it. Have you attended any of his classes or anything?
I have. I
Okay,
have. Yeah.
okay,
I'm going through the process. Yeah. I
okay.
have.
I love
So
that.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
man. So
I want to
I
get it
I
done.
I would definitely do the home equity line of credit. Definitely continue to do your due diligence and all your research and everything that you've been doing on self storages before you invest any money into it. But I definitely do like the self storage play. It could wind up being more passive and more lucrative for you, especially with you going into your retirement years. You want to have as much passive income coming in as possible.
Absolutely. All right. Hey man, I appreciate that.
Nah, Tom, thank you, man. I appreciate you being transparent and coming on the show today.
Hey, that's the only way I'm gonna know. I gotta ask the people that know.
That's a fact. Close mouth and get fed.
Yeah, for sure. So man, y'all doing a great service, man. I love y'all, man.
Man,
For sure.
thank you. Love you too, Tom. I appreciate the love, brother.
For sure. All
All right,
right.
have a good one.
Yep, you too.
Man, that was good. Shout out to Tom, y'all. Shout out to Tom. Shout out to Tom. Man, I like that. Let's do one more. Let's do one more. Let's do one more. My phone is blowing up. Who else wants to come on live? Let's do another coaching call. Shout out to Lauren James. I think you made it over from Instagram over here, Lauren. Shout out to you. I'm gonna do one more. Let's invite somebody else. I'm gonna take one more. You got 1 minute to join. I'm gonna put this on IG too. So if you're on IG, you want to join the show, I just put the link in the IG as well. Shout out to Tom for coming on. If you got a question, you want to join the show right now. If you're on IG, you could just click that link that I just put in IG. YouTube, click the link. I'm gonna take one more person. If not, we're gonna get out of here because I've been on here for 2 hours. 2 hours. And I have coaching calls coming up. Let's see. Shout out to my whole inner circle. We got some things happening. So I got a 2 o'clock, a 3 o'clock coming up. Damn, and I need to get the hell out of here too. Okay. Hey, if you had 2 properties, would you flip one and rent one or flip both and stay liquid? Depends, Stephen. Real estate. It just depends on what my goals are and what I'm really trying to accomplish, right? That's kind of a hard question to answer. I don't know like your financials and what type of, if you were to flip the properties, how much money, how much net income would you really generate from doing so? I don't know what the cash flow could be on those properties. I don't know. It's multiple different things. It definitely sounds like you got some good options though, for sure. All right. Look, this has been a great show today. Again, if you on Instagram, make sure you go over to my YouTube channel to watch the replay of this Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We coming to you guys live. If you want to know about Mamdani, if you're in New York, I kind of broke that down in the first hour of the show. You can go back and watch it on YouTube or download Rants and Gems on all podcast audio outlets, and you will be able to listen to it. All right. That's all I got. Friday, I got a special guest coming on to the show, and we're also going to break down that Letitia James mortgage fraud case on Friday as well, because we had a couple people talking about that as well. All right. So, and Stephen Real Estate, you say is cash flowing at 10%. If rented, flip for 250K, I would flip, take that 250K and multiply that. That's what I would do. I would take that 250K, take my money today, flip that money, and keep rinsing and repeating until you have a nice war chest of capital. And then now I would go and then buy cash flowing properties that can cash flow me at least 15 to 20%. 15 to 20%. And the reason why I say that is because you have to look at how long is it going to take you to get your money back. If you're solely dependent on your cash flow, how long does it take you to get that money back, that acquisition money back, right? And 10%, yeah, that sounds good compared to a bank, but it'll take you fucking years, 10 years probably to get your money back, not including any cash out refinances or anything like that. So the name of the game is to have no money into your deals or have as little as your own money as possible in the deals. I have a 5-day real estate investing boot camp coming up in January 12th to 17th. Those details will be released next week. It's going to be a free real estate investing 5-day boot camp. It's free, ladies and gentlemen. It's free. So stay tuned for that. I'm probably going to release the link to register. If not Friday, it's going to probably be Monday. And yeah, you guys will be able to get a lot of game for 5 days for free. All right. Yeah. MG, I love your channel and your smooth voice. Thank you so much. I appreciate the love. Thank you guys for always tuning in. Barrick says, hey, I'm one of your fans and I have some questions regarding refinance. First of all, you are not a fan, you are a friend. None of you guys are my fans. We are all friends. Okay. We are friends. We are not, you're not a fan of mine. You are a friend of mine, first of all. So let's get that clear. Let's get that correct. Okay. I appreciate the love, but we are friends. And if you have some questions about refinancing, you can email those questions or you can apply for a refinance with me and my team at Garland Group at unmb.com. Garland Group at unmb.com. Garland Group at unmb.com. If you want to refinance, if you want to purchase, whatever it is that you want to do, if you want to get a transaction done, me and my team would love to help you guys. Okay. So just email us right there. Screenshot that right now. Email us. Make sure you make the subject YouTube. Make the subject YouTube so I can make sure when we search, we see it. Okay. We are all friends. You are not fans of mine. Okay. We are friends and we all have the same goal in mind, is that we want to build wealth through real estate, through entrepreneurship, and be as educated as much as we can. So we all in the same game. We all in the same boat, y'all. All right. Download Rants and Gems on all podcast audio outlets. The replay and the audio of this, the audio will be on podcast within the next 10-15 minutes. And then the replay of this will be on YouTube. Tune in this Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I got a special guest and we're going to break down a few things. All right. Happy hump day. Enjoy the Wednesday. Matt Garland, NMLS number 58700, but I'm better known as MG the Mortgage Guy. I'll see y'all Friday morning, God willing, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace.